Hello everyone, Amy here. Okay. I am just getting ready to make supper. And so here I am. Walana shared with you the recipe for the chicken earlier. And so I am gonna make you chicken. Now I just gotta get all the ingredients. I figured I would do that while I talk to you. And while we dig them all out. While my impatient dog rattles things. Say hello if you're joining me, because I can't, still struggling to see where the comments are in this new Facebook world. And I gotta get out my spices. So we are gonna be making the recipe that Walana shared. Only if I can find all the things that I need. Cumin, paprika, oregano. Let's forget about that one. Oregano, salt, and pepper. I figured I'd gather while you were gathering so that you wouldn't have to see. So let me see. Oh, there we go. Someone's here. Okay. Sometimes I figure I can't see the comments, but I don't know how soon they show up. Okay. So first things first, we are going to tie, oops. We're going to tie up our friend the chicken. Because in order to, actually I'm going to put him on the spit first. So I put my little rotisserie spit on him, and I'll tell you, when I first got this, I looked at these little side things and was like, I don't know if I really need those. And then I discovered why I really need them, because the chicken turns, or the spit in the middle of the chicken turns if you don't have the chicken pinned down. This is the hardest part, making sure the squares line up. All right. Oh, I know my screws in too tight. All the things you got to think about. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to get this on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that down about there. So in the rotisserie chicken, make sure if you're watching, say hello. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. All right, I'm going to put this on. Oh, I need to. These screws always get tightened in when it goes into the drawer, because you don't want to lose them. And they're a flying chicken. All right, here we go. Anybody else days and nights mixed up? Yeah, all kinds of things going on around here these days. This is the hardest part, I swear, getting the squares lined up. The spit is square, and then it has little squares. You probably can't see it. Okay, I'm just going to actually put that there. And then I'm going to move this just to my sink for a quick second, so that I don't have all that juice floating around. Okay. Now, I need to pat dry my chicken so that he is dry. When I go to put my spices on, I want them to stick to him. So this is the rotisserie says that it holds up to a 5-pound chicken. So most chickens come sort of tied from the store, so this looks like it's tied. But I always like to add an extra little piece of string to the wings, because I find, depends on how well they're tied, I find sometimes the wings flop. And if the wings flop, then they can get caught in the, kind of in the top, and I love that. So I like to have it extra tight. So you can sort of tie with anything. This is actual cooking string, which isn't, if you're gonna do a lot of rotisserie, extra cooking string isn't a bad thing to have on hand. Sometimes I have to spin that a lot. Okay, let me wash my hands. And then, okay, so what I love about the air fryer, okay, let me say this. What I love about the air fryer, and just like all the rest of our big appliances, Pampered Chef sends a cooking guide. So in the cooking guide, every section is one section, different section of the, like of its features. So there's a section for baking and a section for rotisserie, a section for dehydrate and air fry. So this chicken is the Peruvian chicken recipe. Now this comes with a sauce, which is amazing. It has cilantro and jalapeno and garlic and Parmesan. Honestly, I don't usually make the sauce, although it's delicious. We usually just make the chicken and then just eat it plain with rice or potatoes. Today I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to add potatoes to it. Okay, so this recipe has 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. Now, I learned just recently that depending on the type of oil that you use, it will roast a little darker or a little lighter. I saw today somebody using butter. I like to use olive oil just because I like olive oil as opposed to vegetable oil. We're not big vegetable oil people. I don't actually have any in the house right now. And one other thing that the recipe does, and I think this is a bit just for caramelization, is that the recipe calls for, the recipe calls for sugar. And so I think that it wants it to have sugar to help you caramelize. But again, I don't love adding sugar to things that don't need sugar. Just a second, Sam. I don't think a rotisserie, kids are playing video games. I don't think a rotisserie chicken needs sugar. I don't know, what do you think? Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, so I need 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. The cumin really is a nice feature of this. And I need 1 teaspoon of paprika. Like, it's a really flavorful rub that goes on this chicken. And a teaspoon of oregano. It just adds so much to it. Some fresh ground pepper. These are our salt and pepper grinders. And this is actually our sea salt and also our ground pepper medley in there. So some salt. And then it calls for garlic. And my kitchen needs to be, oh, there it is. Sometimes the tools get put in different places. Does anyone else have people in their kitchens who put things out of the dishwasher and they go in different places? I say I'm thankful for the people who put things out of the dishwasher, even if they're in a different place. Anybody with me? You can send me a heart. At least then I know you're watching. If I can see your hearts. Okay. We're going to put some fresh garlic in here. Do you use fresh garlic when you cook? No, you don't. The goodness of garlic is all in the oils of the garlic. I'm just going to set that there for a second. And then I want to tell you something. So you want to use fresh pressed because fresh pressed is really the best way to get all of the health benefits and everything you need from the garlic. Now this calls for 4 cloves, but I feel like, yeah, can you ever have too much? One more clove. I live with all these people. It is, what is the word? Quarantine season. We're not going out. There's gonna be no vampires at our house tonight. So I love that when the garlic just pops out like that. Okay. So now I'm going to take all of this and I am just going to mix it up first. And then I'm just going to dig out my those out of the way. And then I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to rub it in. Oh, this smells so good. One thing as a warning, I just said I use vegetable oil. So if you're ready for a little bit of a giggle, one of the days that I did this, I had extra coconut oil from a recipe that I had made that was just like still kind of melted on the counter. And it was like, oh, I'll just use this coconut oil. Completely forgetting that coconut oil actually solidifies when it gets cold. Not my best game day, Amy. Okay, let's put this all onto the bird. So don't use coconut oil unless it's going to stay liquidy, which it's probably not. Okay, let me wash my hands again. Now, I'm going to come at you from this side, and I'm going to, actually I probably should start it. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my chicken, full admittance that I'm never sure which side it goes in. There is a way that goes in better, so let's just make sure I get this in. There's a little hole on that side that it's got to sit in. Oh yeah, I think that's good. It's got to sit in so that it rotates. You can see it in there. And then I'm just going to close it. I'm going to rotate, rotisserie over here. And then I'm actually going to do this one for 45. Push the button. You can up the time. Sometimes I find they take, I'll put it on for 50. Sometimes I find they take 50 and then just go. And I don't know if you can see if I turn the light on. Can you see? No, a little bit there. You can see that it's sort of rotating in there. I just make sure it's rotating. It's rotating. Okay, now, what I did want to show you that I am going to do, okay, two things. When this chicken is done, what I love about a fresh rotisserie chicken, so a couple of things that I love about it. One of them I'm going to show you right now. We're going to talk about, we're going to talk about the quick cooker in a couple of days, but I wanted to show you what I do with the carcass of the chicken when it's done cooking. So when it's done cooking, I didn't make soup the last time we made chicken, so I just put it in the fridge in a bag. So I had all these garlic peels from when I was putting the garlic in, and I'm just going to throw them right into the Ziploc bag. And this bag is actually, I'll probably even, I maybe won't do it tonight. I'll probably throw tonight's chicken carcass back in the freezer though. And I just keep all of this stuff. So this is like, I don't know if you can see, there's onion peels, there's carrot ends, there's a bit of a pepper, onion, like the outside levels of the onion. There's some zucchini and asparagus. It's probably on there, and the chicken, of course. And I keep this on the freezer, and then what I'll do is I will take this and I will just dump it right into my quick cooker, and we're going to make soup broth with it, which is why I like having a second carcass. I think it just gives it a little bit deeper of a chicken flavor. But by putting all these vegetables in it, I'm going to make the stock even that much richer with flavor without having to add fresh vegetables that I'm just going to throw out. This is all throwaways that I was just going to toss. So now they'll go into my stock, and then they'll make my soup. So I don't know if you guys do that. Do you guys do that? But I wanted to give you that little tip because this makes an amazing quick cooker. Now here's an interesting tip about soup. About soup in the pressure cooker specifically. I was watching a video that was done by our innovation team at Pampered Chef, and Tim, our chief innovation guy, I'm not sure of his title, was saying that chicken that's cooked in a soup broth that's cooked with a pressure cooker, even though it boils, the soup is clear. Versus, I don't know about you, but when I cook chicken and stock in a pot, first of all, can I just say I have to babysit it? Right, make sure it doesn't boil over and then turn it down. But also it is much more cloudy. And the nature of pressure cooking makes you, makes the stock clear. And I'm not really sure what the science behind that is, but I just thought that's really cool. So if you like your stock to be more clear, then a pressure cooker is the great place to make your chicken stock. So that's how I use that. What I love about that is if I was going to make a rotisserie chicken, like buy one from the store, I don't know what kind of stuff they've put on the outside of that. So do I really want to use those bones to like feed my family a stock? Whereas this, it's just the chicken, and I know what spices I put on it. So I know what my soup is going to taste like. And so I love that about it. So do you make your own stock? I was curious to ask that question, if you make your own stock. So I'm just going to grab a couple of things. Stock is so easy to make that it's awesome. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I have some little baby potatoes here, and there isn't a ton of room on the bottom into the drip tray. There isn't a ton of room there with the chickens. With the roast, I found there was a little bit more room on the bottom to put some vegetables and stuff. But I think there's going to be enough room that I'm going to do some potatoes in the bottom. So this is, I'm going to admit now that this is a bit of an experiment, but I think I can do it. So I'm just going to just give my potatoes a quick rinse, because I'm not going to peel them, so I want to just wash them. Do you wash your vegetables? And then I'm going to show you my other favorite device. Is the close and cut. Now, most of the time, my close and cut gets used for chicken. Everything you put in here gets cut in half. So you can see that these are spring-loaded. So imagine baby potatoes, grapes, baby tomatoes, all those kind of things just get cut in half. Bagels. So I'm just going to put these potatoes in. Anything as long as it's half an inch. No standing around cutting potatoes. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm going to just do those, and then we'll do it's about a cup of grapes or a cup of potatoes on here at one time. But I love it for chicken breast because, you know, all those chicken breasts. Just a second. Can someone come deal with the dog, please? Rebecca? You have a dog that thinks she needs to get eaten. And she's just crying. Does she ever? Just feed her, please. Just stop crying and say feed her. She was supposed to be going for a W, but that hasn't happened yet. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, chicken. Chicken are like pizza. Is it Monday? Chicken are even my kids are like, keep lost it. Chickens are like people. Not all breasts are the same size. I'll let you ponder that for a minute. I hope you're laughing in your kitchens because that's my favorite joke that I tell at live parties, and nobody's laughing anymore. I don't get to do live parties. These are my equivalent of live parties. Okay, so I've just put some oil on those, and I think I'm going to put some bell pepper because, let's face it, around here, bell pepper goes on everything. So I've got some bell pepper rub and some oil. And so I've cut the potatoes in half. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, I'm like a squirrel today. You guys better keep me on track. The closing cut for chicken breasts. So you know when you buy like a bulk pack at Costco or at Superstore, they're like really thick at the one end and like really thin at the other? They don't cook evenly, right? One side cooks fast and the other side is still raw and one's burnt. And when you're cooking them, if they're cut evenly, they're going to cook so much faster and so much more even and be juicier. So that's what I love my closing cut for. I cut them as soon as I bring them home from the store, and then I freeze them already cut. It makes them freeze faster, it makes them thaw faster, it makes them cook faster. It's just all the faster things in the closing cut. So I did all these potatoes for those of you who are just joining us in the closing cut, and it just cut them really nicely in half. Now, because these are little baby potatoes, they're going to take quite a while to cook. So I am going to go in here, and I'm going to find my oven mitt that was missing earlier. I can't find it. So I'm just going to go in here. And you can see that my chicken doesn't have a ton of room. So I'm going to have to put it on the edges and make sure that the chicken can still turn. I might have to do some in the oven, but I like that the chicken juice drips on these. So that's why I like to get them in here. So let's see if I can put that in and still have my chicken turning. If I put them off to the sides, I think I can. Because you can still cook in your drip tray. All right. Let me get a fork so that I can see. This is my chicken. Oh yeah, my chicken's totally still turning. I want you to see. Can you see my potatoes in the bottom of my chicken there? Okay, so those are going to take about 20 minutes to finish now. Chicken's just got a nice start to it. Chicken is still rotating, and the potatoes are there. Oh, those potatoes are going to be the bomb because all that chicken juice is going to drip on them as they cook. So, can I tell you how awesome that feels to put, like, I'm just making a rotisserie chicken and roasted potatoes. I feel like $1,000,000 plus 5. Amazing. So, that's what we're having for supper. I'll take a picture when you're done. If you have any questions, I'm so glad you're here. This is our first live video of the week. We're taking turns. I'm going to do all the live things for you this week. But if there's something that you want to see demoed, if there's something you want to see working so that you can understand it a little bit better, make sure you comment below so we can make sure that happens for you, because that's what makes a party, is when we all have fun together. So thanks for joining me in my kitchen for supper, and I'll take a picture and show you what it looks like on the other side. Have a good night, everybody.